Good morning and happy Friday to you. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury, joined today, special guest host, my brother, my good friend, Bobby Steels. What's up, Bobby?
I'm here. Good morning.
Man, you're here.
Good morning to the audience. Good morning to our director. Good morning to everybody.
Good morning to everybody, huh? Man, this has been like a last few weeks, but this week has been a lot of news, huh?
Yeah, the news cycle has been, not everything's been that bad. Everything's been, moving along pretty fast, and Converge has been happy to cover it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm just happy that it's Friday. I'm happy that the weekend is here. I'm happy to get some sleep, and we'll see what next week brings. Before we get everything going today, I want to remind everybody here that we need your support. Converge, we stay on air through donations and good stuff like that. And we want to say thank you to all the people who've been supporting us. You can go to whereweconverge.com/donate, and you'll see there, options as low as $5 a month. You know what I'm saying? You're more than welcome to pick 500 though. We haven't had any takers on that one quite yet, but you're more than welcome for that one as well. But we encourage you to go to whereweconverge.com/donate. And once you're there, you'll be able to select an option. And man, we appreciate all of your support 100%. All right. So let's hop into it for today. I mean, it's Feel Good Friday. And for the most part, we got some pretty good news lined up. Let's start here with our brother, Marcus Harrison Green. He's Emerald founder honored with Human Rights Award. The Seattle Human Rights Commission Individual Human Rights Leader Award to Marcus Harrison Green of the South Seattle Emerald. Other awardees were Trans Women of Color Solidarity Network. They received the Human Rights Coalition Award. And Choose 180. Big shout out to Sean Good and those guys out there. Recipient of Human Rights Organization Award. Now, Bobby, we've been working with Marcus close. This partnership is now, it's going to be a year as far as this partnership with Converge and the South Seattle Emerald. And Marcus is a pretty good guy.
Yeah, it's funny you were talking about that today because I was actually, I read this article yesterday. I actually watched some of your town hall meeting that you had with Trans Solidarity Network. Mm-hmm. Congratulations to Sean, congratulations to them. And I was actually thinking, we used to see Marcus all the time. He used to come through putting you to shame on your outfits. You know what I'm saying? He came through looking fresh every single day. But every Friday he'd be there. So I'd look forward to seeing Marcus. And, I really appreciate him and the Emerald. We love all their work, Mike Davis, all these people from the Emerald. Kevin Schofield, we appreciate these guys. So, couldn't be awarded to a better person. I appreciate what he does.
Yeah, again, congratulations, Marcus Harrison Green of the South Seattle Emerald Humanitarian Award, awarded yesterday. Good stuff there. Keeping it moving, actually, still on the Emerald right here. Seahawks, Russell Wilson teams with Seattle artists to draw attention to police shooting of Herbert Hightower Jr. This is interesting because I've actually been talking to some of the family members. Castile Hightower, which is Herbert Hightower's deceased Herbert Hightower's sister. She's trying to get some understanding around the police shooting of Herbert Hightower, which occurred 16 years ago. And we see right here, this was part of the NFL's My Cause, My Cleats initiative. And it's an artist that well, and who's actually been on the Morning Update show quite a few times, Takia T-Dub Ward, who customized the cleats, right?
Yeah, Takia, she's out here doing her part. Congratulations to her. I appreciate her, and I appreciate, everything she does with the Vivid Matters Collective. I just went and covered her pop-up there. She was psyched to do these shoes. I actually talked to her about these shoes, and she wanted to make sure that, she put a spotlight on the issues facing people in Seattle when it comes to policing. So I really appreciate that. And, she's always out there doing her part to raise awareness. And she's always pushing art, that has a story behind it. So, I appreciate you, T-Dub.
Right. What I heard initially was that, on the cleats, they were talking about putting like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. And it's Takia who's more like, Seattle has its own issues here around policing. And like Herbert Hightower is a name that most people, haven't heard. Of course, this police shooting happened 16 years ago. Other Creek, there's Charlene Lyles. Charlene Lyles' name, we'll say her name, is a name that most people in Seattle who follow these kind of issues are aware of. People have heard of people like John T. Williams and so many more in between. But the Hightower family, I mean, they really want answers. And I've actually been in contact there with the family, and they're looking for the file, the police file. Real interesting thing here. Actually, this wasn't part of the original conversation, but in the police file, they're still trying to get it released. And they've asked the police department on 4 different times. Seattle Police Department, I guess, has changed the date of when they were supposed to get this file. And then SPD said that they were updating their platform, their file platform. And now Chief Diaz, and we'll discuss this more on Monday, Chief Diaz has now sent a letter to the city council. But basically, they want the information as to what happened in this shooting of Herbert Hightower 16 years ago. So
yeah, I think this is a really good point as to why Converge, like what we do is raising awareness and putting a lens onto the issue of the file not being released. So I appreciate you checking back in on Monday and seeing if we can put some spotlight on that issue.
This is what we do. Yeah. We got to follow up with where we can. Next up here, from Justin Carter and Capitol Hill Seattle.com. Seattle City Council to approve $1 million no interest loan to help affordable developer Community Roots Housing overcome COVID-19 losses. And so people hear Community Roots Housing, that's their new name for years. People knew Community Roots Housing as Capitol Hill Housing. Capitol Hill Housing actually has almost 50 properties across Seattle that's all affordable housing, right?
Yeah, I've watched them expand over the years. I've actually, I was grandfathered into one of their properties. Actually was on the phone with them this morning. They do a lot for the community. They're very well connected. Liberty Bank building. They've used that Brown Girl Cooks to do to feed the community. Really, really good company. I couldn't be happier to see it go to a better company that's out there making affordable housing for the Seattle community. I can't speak more highly of them than
right. And it says here that this $1 million, the city council unanimously approved here $1 million no interest loan to Community Roots Housing as it tries to recover from financial impacts from the pandemic. It says the move will add stability to the developer and manager of 47 affordable buildings across Seattle with nearly 2,000 residents. Also sheds light on just how hard hit affordable providers and market rate developers have been during the COVID restrictions. This is interesting because oftentimes when we think about rent moratoriums and things like that and rent strikes, whatever it might be, we think of like these big corporate developers and everything else. But you got people like Capitol Hill Housing who their whole thing is just affordable, affordable housing. And if people aren't paying the rent, then of course they're impacted as well. We see $1 million no interest loan.
Yeah, they've done everything they can within, from what I hear from within, my neighbors and other people that I have other friends that live in their housing, and they've done everything they can to work with their residents. They've never pressed anybody about paying rent. They're finding alternative ways to help people pay rent. They also help with food assistance. I think we need more companies like this here in Seattle. We talk a lot about housing issues here in Seattle, and this is one of the companies that's doing it right.
Right. I think a few other similar kind of companies or organizations that's out there is Bellwether, Plymouth, Africa Town Community Land Trust. Capitol Hill Housing or Community Roots is definitely the largest, though, with 47 buildings. This one's not so good news here. Seattle Fire calls for public's help after another string of arson fires in the Central District. Again, you can find this at CapitolHillSeattle.com. Seattle Fire is calling for public's help after a string of arson fires set to vehicles and debris in the Central District. Seattle Fire Department says it has responded to 7 intentionally set fires since December 4th in the Central District locations from 12th Avenue near the Youth Justice Center to Junkins Park. Most of the fires have been set to vehicles or debris. So, this definitely isn't what we need anywhere in Seattle. It's not what we need in the Central District as an arsonist.
Yeah, I don't know. Arson's it's a pretty bad situation because the fire can travel,
Of course.
and it's really hard to get to. Not only is it just property damage, but it has an impact on the community with the smoke and
well, it's got an impact on people's mental health too.
Yeah.
If you remember, as a few months ago, we were reporting that the fruit stand there on Rainier and MLK. It was multiple fires that have been set there, and there was a lot of fires occurring along Rainier. So I don't, there's nobody saying these things are connected, but like, come on, man, it's not all right. Seattle Fire Department is seeking your information if you have any information about who's setting these fires in the Central District. Bobby, we talked about this yesterday, but I know this is something that's kind of near and dear to you. You spent a good part of your career in the restaurant industry, either running restaurants, designing restaurants, or hanging out at restaurant bars. 624 Seattle restaurants and bars have closed during the COVID-19 pandemic, this survey finds here. Also, it's a disproportional number of ethnic restaurants that have actually been closing. As somebody who's worked in that industry, a good part of your young life, what's going on? What's happened? What's the flip side of what people don't see? We see the numbers here.
I mean, I'll tell you one thing. These closures are actually, they're indiscriminate. They're affecting every single aspect of the restaurant industry. Larger companies, smaller companies. I actually was talking to one of my friends the other day, and she had done everything she could to minimize the damage and the impact that COVID's had on her restaurants, trying to keep her employees. And, the delivery services just aren't keeping the business afloat. Not just that, we had a small discussion about having, you can only eat from these restaurants so many times to this delivery service. It's just not the same quality. The restaurants try to make it the same kind of experience as to going to a restaurant, but you're just not going to get that. And you can only order from these same restaurants so many times. So I don't know. We banged our head against the wall. Last year I did a series. I talked to Linda Dershang. I talked to Jason Wilson. I talked to Tom Douglas. No, I didn't talk to Tom Douglas, but I talked to a couple other restaurateurs, Lisa Nakamura, and I talked about at the beginning of this COVID outbreak, when they were first starting to close the restaurants, I did a series about, how can you pivot? How can you change your business structure to keep your restaurant alive? And, nobody could have foreseen what this was going to look like. And now I don't know what the city is going to do or how we can save these restaurants, but I think it's a shame, And
there's some restaurants that have been able to figure out a way to innovate. We talk about Canlis and what they've been able to do, but it's a mix of things that a lot.
Canlis is closing.
Are they?
Canlis is they've shut down operation right now.
Wow.
They did. Now those are people that are at the forefront of this industry.
They turned it into a burger joint. They turned it into
they had a tiki lounge. They had beaches out there. It just is not a sustainable business model. I don't know what they're going to do. It's really, really sad. Let me just say this. You guys. I have tons of friends in this community that have worked their entire lives in the restaurant industry, blood, sweat, and tears in this industry. They saved up all their money to open up a restaurant, and it is just sad. They're starting families. They're buying their first home. They're employing. I don't know. I mean, it's terrifying to think about some of these iconic restaurants even leaving Seattle. Like, how do you have Seattle without a restaurant scene here? And it's dying. And I don't know what we don't know what to do. I said, my friends are struggling. This is a sad thing, and they're doing everything they can. This is not just some big, it's not these big restaurant groups. It's the mom and pop places,
right?
That are not going to survive. These are generational restaurants that have been in families.
I know a few restaurateurs were saying that like the first batch kind of money that came through was helpful, but there hasn't been anything since, and so now the coffers are running dry.
There were so many stipulations on that money that came through, but that money was gone like that. It saved them. That first batch of money. There's even a second one coming out, but that's only playing catch up. There's no plan in place for what's going to happen. We thought that the restaurants were going to open back up, and I don't know. I don't know what to do. This is just there needs to be some kind of relief for restaurants. And with those loans, it wasn't specific to the restaurant industry. It was all small businesses. We need some type of relief for literally the restaurant and bar industry, you know?
All right. Speaking of restaurant and bar industry, though, we do have a little bit of good news. It turns out that you caught up with Derek Jeffries, award winner there. Let me get it right. Derek Jeffries, and you caught up with the team there from Jack Daniels, from Gentleman Jack, and tell us about it.
Yeah, so Gentleman Jack has started a program called Cultural Movers and Shakers. Their aim is to spotlight bartenders in the Black and Latin community. So I caught up with Keenan, who's heading the program at Gentleman Jack, and then Derek, who actually I've known for a long time. So when you passed this email along to me, I was like, great. It's nice to see somebody get some shine, and I'm glad that Gentleman Jack is shining a spotlight on these people in the industry.
I know it has something to do with a bar, so I passed the email to you.
All right. So good morning, you guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Welcome. I'm Bobby Stills from Converge Media. First of all, will you guys just go ahead and introduce yourself? Keenan, can you go first?
Yeah, sure, Bobby. My name is Keenan Harris. I am the Senior Multicultural Marketing Manager for Jack Daniels for the United States and Canada.
And I'm Derek Jeffries, Seattle bartender, born and raised in Seattle, and one of the first of the inaugural Culture Shakers.
Now, I happen to know Derek already. I'm pretty well known around the bar scene here in Seattle, Washington. So we've ran across each other a couple of times. But Keenan, can you tell me a little bit about the Jack Daniel Cultural Shakers program? It's the inaugural year, so of course a lot of people out there aren't going to know exactly what it is. So can you explain to the audience about what the program actually consists of?
Yeah, sure, and definitely excited to speak to you guys in regards to the Gentleman Jack Culture Shakers program. As you stated, I mean, this is the inaugural year of the particular program, and it really just serves to highlight and amplify multicultural bartenders around the country. You know, in this first year, we've actually selected 6 bartenders. The cities are Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, Miami, New York, and Seattle. And they're ultimately going to showcase their craft by paying homage to some historical industry trailblazers, and really just drawing some inspiration from their roots, and truly their culture in regards to the art of mixology. So excited to really kick this program off. It has multiple layers and components to it, where the bartenders have filmed, have filmed in their hometowns. They've also gone on a collective group trip to the Jack Daniels distillery. And in essence, we're putting together a short film, which is a collective film with all the bartenders. And then each of the bartenders also has their own individual short film highlighting their plight in their individual city.
So when are those documentaries or those shorts actually coming out?
Yeah, so they're launching at the very beginning of January. We are starting with some private viewing events starting this week, actually, for all the particular bartenders to highlight their films and to show the program to their family and friends and local influencers. But then the program will go national beginning of January. That short film, the collective short film, will be able to be viewed on gentlemanjack.com. In addition to the short films of each of the individual bartenders, and then we'll have a national media campaign which rolls out in the months of January and February, highlighting those films.
Now, how was the selection process for each of the candidates? The people that actually won, and what were the actual qualifications for being selected?
Yeah, so in regards to that process, we definitely leaned on our local teams a significant amount to put together the slate of the bartenders that they felt really exemplified being a culture shaker in their key markets. So once they narrowed that down to some folks that they thought were ideal for the program, these bartenders actually submitted an application to be part of the program. We reviewed that from a Gentleman Jack standpoint in regards to also working with our creative agency to figure out who were the right bartenders to be featured in the particular program. So, the qualifications in essence were to basically be a bartender, which, I believe worked 20 hours per week in the bartending trade. And clearly we know during COVID-19, that's been a true challenge. So I've had to make some adjustments there, but to truly be a bartender, be over 21 and be willing to be part of the films and go through this journey with us. Truly, as stated, they've done local filming, they have done group filming, they've taken trips to the distillery. So it's been a long time coming for this to come to fruition.
Now, on behalf of Jack Daniels, what's the aim of this program? What's the end goal of this program?
Yeah, I say the end goal of this program is really just to highlight and amplify, Black and Hispanic voices in the trade industry. Our research has showed that the multicultural bartender has truly been underserved when it comes to the spirits industry and come to the bar industry. So we wanted to make sure that we allow them to tell their story, show how important it is, in being a bartender, being a mixologist, digging into the history of the craft and the present and the future. So for us, it's really, telling the stories, amplifying Black voices, amplifying Hispanic voices, and what they do. So excited to bring this to life using our platform.
All right, Derek. So you got you won. I think Derek has the first film being premiered on Friday, correct?
Correct. He is up first.
And you got to go to Jack Daniels, right?
That's correct.
How was your trip? What did you guys get to do? Tell us a little bit about the trip.
That was amazing. Definitely a one of a kind experience. We got to as soon as we landed, meeting the other bartenders from all over the country, and it took minutes to make a bond. It was like once you meet one bartender, you meet another bartender, like you just click. And so go to the distillery and stayed in wonderful accommodations at the distillery, these personalized Jack Daniels Airstreams, and then it was this full immersion of the Jack Daniels experience.
All right, so when you were selected, how were you contacted, and what does this actually mean to you to be contacted by Jack Daniels and let known? I mean, it's the inaugural year of this. It's the first, it's the first time it's happening. I'm sure this is going to be a long-standing program within, on Jack Daniels, website and within their program, their bartending program. So tell me how you're contacted and how it made you feel.
So I was contacted by the local team here in Seattle, and they reached out, wanting to know you're a very influential bartender here in Seattle that represents the Black / Latin community, and they wanted to know what my thoughts were with Gentleman Jack and Jack Daniels, and then how I felt with showcasing just my personality with cocktail culture.
All right, and then you had to come up with a cocktail. Will you tell us a little bit about the cocktail? I
did. So my cocktail is Two Gentlemen in Verona, and basically it's a play on a Manhattan. A Manhattan is one of my favorite cocktails to make, just the original that we know, which is a simple cocktail of 212, just like the area code of downtown Manhattan. But I wanted to do something that sort of highlighted the play of unique spices and flavors that you get in Gentleman Jack. So you get like this nice toffee and vanilla, and then some herbal spices. So I came up with this lovely cocktail.
You got any stories behind the drink, behind the cocktail, behind the name? I know, I've been involved with crafting cocktails and stuff before, but I know the easy part is making cocktails, but one of the hardest parts is actually naming the cocktails. So you can make a delicious cocktail, but the name has got to be.
Yeah, the name kind of came first. The name is sort of inspired by a story of two gentlemen that basically have the same outlook on a thought, a process, a person, like a woman, and how to take those two people that are friends, but put them in the same room around the same person and not have them basically compete or argue. And so that's how my cocktail came about, is I'm taking two very big components like vermouth and a gentian liqueur and put them into a cocktail where they basically enhance each other.
Now, Keenan, if people want to find out more information about this program, educate themselves, how can they find out this information?
Yeah, everything will be housed at the landing page at gentlemanjack.com, beginning on January 1st. So again, we're doing all the private viewings now to give our culture shakers and everyone else the first looks at the films. And then as of January 1st, go to gentlemanjack.com. You'll be able to see the full film. You'll be able to see highlights on the bartenders, their individual films. Everything will be housed there.
All right, Derek. How can people get a hold of you? They want to come see you, want to get a cocktail from you. Do you want to, promote anything?
They can find me just on social media at IZDROC or on Facebook.
All right, gentlemen. Here at Converge, we'd like to thank you. We'd like to thank Gentleman Jack for starting this new program, and we look forward to trying out those cocktails.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, Bobby Stills. Good story for Feel Good Friday, right? They said alcohol consumption is up, by the way. So,
I try to limit it to once a week, but I just want to thank Gentleman Jack. They sent me a cocktail kit so I can try that, and dinner tonight so I can watch the film.
Good stuff. Good stuff. How come I don't get invited to stuff like that?
You got invited, though. You don't check your emails.
That's true. Hey, we're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, we have Laura Clise from The Intentionalists. You're watching the Morning Update Show.
My parents coming over here as refugees meant that they didn't really have anything when they came to America. Having reliable healthcare and having a reliable doctor was really important. 共同của tôi, trạm y tế của tôi.
我的社区，我的诊所。Mi comunidad, mi clínica.
بلشدة هي بقارها.
My community, my clinic.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your man, the Big O. Want to take a moment here, first of all, to say thank you for your support of Converge Media. We definitely wouldn't be here without you. Secondly, I want to thank everybody who is a supporter of Converge Media on Patreon. We definitely appreciate your support. And for those of you might not know, I'll let you know, we operate 100% off of donations. Some donations big, most donations small, but we love all donations all the same. If you haven't done so yet, I want to encourage you to go on our website to whereweconverge.com/donate and subscribe. You click on the Patreon link and you can subscribe for as little as $5 a month. There's higher tiers beyond that as well. And just know that your subscription literally keeps us on the air. Once again, I want to thank you for all your support. All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. We're joined now, go ahead and bring in the room, Aya. We're joined now by Laura Clise of Intentionalist.com. How are you, Laura?
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you, too. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Let's jump right into this here. Let me bring it up on the screen. We're talking about gift guides today, and some of the gift guides that people can find by visiting intentionalist.com. Why don't you tell us what the gift guides are all about?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it's nice to see you again. It was great to see you out in the community last weekend at the communion opening. Wasn't that incredible?
Well, it was too. And
oh, my goodness. So really the same spirit of elevating, celebrating, uplifting, and supporting diverse POC-owned businesses is at the heart of our gift guide. And what we've tried to do this year is we've put together 14 gift guides for every person that might be on your list based on a variety of interests. And the items are curated from over 90 diverse brick and mortar small businesses. And all of the gifts are available for shipping to wherever you or the gift recipient might be.
Oh, wow. That's great. What are some of your favorite gift guides?
So I have to say, The gift guide for geeks. I have some geeky tendencies, but I gotta tell you, there's some wonderful ingenuity included in that gift guide. One of the items is cards for decolonization from the Sacred Circle gift shop. I think we all know somebody who's a little bit geeky in our lives, and I think that we were excited to highlight that the POC community is geeky too. In addition to that, we have the gift guide for activists that I think strikes a chord with a lot of folks who are wanting to match their words with real action. And in addition to all of the items that you see here, including, and I've got a sample here, Queen Care, owned by Monica Matthews, located in Columbia City, just celebrated their 2-year anniversary. And I have one of their natural hand-poured candles here. And I want to shout out Queen Care, and they're included in our gift guide for activists, in part because the retail business itself is driven by a social purpose mission. The founder of Queen Care, Monica Matthews, started a nonprofit called Life Enrichment Group more than a decade ago, where she's working with young women of color, her queens, to provide them with hands-on experience in entrepreneurship. And I think that anytime we have the opportunity to not only purchase a thoughtful gift, support an incredible POC member of the community, but then you have the added impact of the social purpose of her business itself, it's like win, 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 win.
Fantastic. And just remind our audience, why is it important every year and every time, but especially right now, that people are intentional with their gift buying and their support of these businesses?
So the really simple answer to that is that the money that we spend shapes the community around us. This has been a really tough year for brick and mortar small businesses. On the restaurant front, there was an article that just came out in the Seattle Times that highlighted that more than 600 bars and restaurants have shut down this year in Seattle, right? And those aren't just places where we enjoy food and drink, right? Those are people's livelihoods. Those are third places where we come together and connect with one another, where we organize. And there are a lot of families whose years have been made incredibly difficult as a result of the pandemic, and whose businesses really are at the heart and soul of our communities. Among them, the other thing I wanted to shout out is this Coffee Like It Matters offering that we have from Intentionalist. So one of the things that I think we can all agree on is that there's something special about the independent coffee shops in our neighborhoods. And in particular, when you talk to community, POC-owned coffee shops play a really special role in our communities. And so what we did was we decided to team up with 12 different POC-owned coffee shops to put together this little voucher booklet. And this is what you get the person in your life who has said, hey, I'd love to support more POC, women-owned, LGBTQ-owned businesses. This is a great way to not only do so one cup of coffee at a time, but to give the gift recipient the opportunity to experience what happens, the magic of local POC-owned coffee shops.
So I just wanted to say that, I really appreciate your website. I think it's important to highlight actually where your money is going, who it's going to. It puts, a face, a name, it lets people know that these are the types of businesses that you should support. And this is where your money is going to. It's minority owned. It's a family business. It's local. So I just want to say that I appreciate this, and I've been looking for a website like this for a long time. So I'll make sure to share it and drive people your way.
No, thank you so much. Again, I think that small business ownership has played such an important role, for generations when it comes to offering a vehicle for economic stability, mobility, the opportunity to build intergenerational wealth, especially for historically marginalized communities. And that means that at a time when POC-owned businesses are shutting down at a rate, that's twice as high as businesses overall, there's an opportunity for us as people who love and support and recognize the value that they offer to step up and hopefully be a little bit more intentional about supporting them as we are giving thoughtful gifts this holiday season and beyond.
All right, Laura, thank you so much for joining us. We want to encourage everybody out there, go to intentionalist.com. Make sure and be intentional about your spending. Have a great weekend, Laura.
Thanks so much.
Man, this is nice. Really, really good what Laura's been doing.
Yeah, I think those kind of websites, those kind of maps are very important. A lot of people don't know. They want to be intentional with their spending, with their money. It's also a way to send people gifts around the United States to show them actually, what Seattle has to offer. So it's really important to highlight these types of businesses.
All right, fantastic. We're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, it's the coronavirus update here on the Morning Update Show. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your man, the Big O. Want to take a moment here, first of all, to say thank you for your support of Converge Media. We definitely wouldn't be here without you. Secondly, I want to thank everybody who is a supporter of Converge Media on Patreon. We definitely appreciate your support. And for those of you might not know, I'll let you know, we operate 100% off of donations. Some donations big, most donations small, but we love all donations all the same. If you haven't done so yet, I want to encourage you to go on our website to whereweconverge.com/donate and subscribe. You click on the Patreon link and you can subscribe for as little as $5 a month. There's higher tiers beyond that as well. And just know that your subscription literally keeps us on the air. Once again, I want to thank you for all your support. All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury, joined by my good friend and colleague, Bobby Steels. What's up, man?
Nothing, just
you okay over there?
I'm all right.
These commercial break conversations be intense sometimes. All right, it's time for coronavirus update. Oh yeah, please bring in Nikki Barron.
Good morning.
Good morning, Nikki. Nikki, it's finally Friday, yo.
It's finally Friday.
What a week. All right, this is our last coronavirus update until Monday, and then we have 2 of them on Monday. What's going on with the numbers?
All right, let me pull up the numbers here. So I wanted to start off first by letting you guys know that they put a notice up about duplicates in the data. So they said today's total case count may include up to 300 duplicates. Negative test results from November 21st through today are incomplete, as are positive test results from November 30th through December 6th. So essentially what they're saying is these numbers are roundabout. They could kind of adjust a little bit as more data comes in. As the hospitals get more and more overwhelmed and the testing centers get more and more overwhelmed, the data is going to have longer and longer lag times. So we'll see this, I'm sure we'll see this morning again. So our confirmed cases, confirmed cases are up 2,550. Our hospitalizations rose by 88, and we actually saw the death number here go down by 166, and this probably has to do with some data adjustments that they made, but that's good. I want to see that death number go down. I'd like to see more errors in that data. So that's good news. So our next piece of data, which I think is more important than anything we have here, and that's going to be our hospital readiness numbers. So our hospital readiness, we wanted it to be at 80. We just rose to 82.4. It was 81 yesterday. So looks like this is just going to continue to increase. And for reference, that is the number of hospital beds, ICU beds that we have available for people who have extreme cases of COVID. We want to keep that number under 80. So, you know, we're already creeping up. So we got to keep continuing to stay home and socially distance. As far as all of our other key metrics here, we're not hitting any of our goals, which means that we're not going to see these COVID lockdowns, you know, go away, you know, anytime soon if we continue to see the rise in numbers. So as the health department keeps saying, stay home, wash your hands, don't gather in groups, so we can stay healthy here in Washington.
Wow. Yeah. Continuous good advice. Hey, Nikki, there was some actual video we were going to play yesterday, but we ran out of time. Of course, lots of news here. Vaccines get ready to be out, be available here within a number of days. But came across something on ABC News that talked about the vaccine from a global perspective.
In so many ways, the pandemic has really highlighted the chasm between the haves and the have-nots. And now a new study shows how rich countries are hoarding COVID-19 vaccines and the world's poor are set to miss out. We take a look by the numbers. Wealthy nations like the U.S. have bought enough doses to vaccinate their entire population nearly 3 times over by the end of 2021, assuming the vaccines in clinical trials are approved. But in 67 developing or poor countries, from Kenya to Pakistan to Ukraine, only 10% of the population will get vaccinated for COVID next year, according to the People's Vaccine Alliance. Now, the rich countries represent 14% of the world's population, but have already bought up 53% of the most promising vaccines. Topping the chart, Canada could vaccinate each Canadian 5 times with its supplies. 100% of Moderna's vaccine doses and 96% of Pfizer-BioNTech's have already been acquired by rich nations. Now, in contrast, Oxford AstraZeneca says it will provide 64% of its vaccine to people in developing nations, which would still only reach up to 18% of the world's population in 2021.
So, you know, like I said, a lot of times, I mean, of course, everybody's very concerned about the vaccine right here and everything else, but it's a lot of places in the world, man, where people aren't really going to be vaccinated probably for a long time. Ultimately, that does impact a lot of things, especially people who want to move around the world to different countries.
Yeah, definitely. I know here in Washington State, we're going to be seeing almost 500,000 vaccines start to be given to our essential workers within like a week. So, yeah, I mean, it's pretty wild to think that we're going to have, you know, I think they said some places had 8 times, they had purchased 8 times the amount of vaccine that they needed. And I'm really curious as to why countries are doing that. Is there something that they're, you know, they're trying to, I don't know, prepare for that maybe we just don't know or understand? But it is pretty disheartening to see that, you know, if there isn't a reason other than we can do it, for that, that's pretty disappointing.
All right, Nikki, appreciate you. Appreciate your hard work, staying on top of all the numbers of coronavirus. I know you'll be back Monday at 11 a.m. on a morning update show. And then Monday, again, at 6:15 p.m. for the coronavirus update. We're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, it's Food Fri-Yay. And it turns out Nikki Barron ate all my good stuff. You're watching the Morning Update Show. All right, welcome back to the Morning Update Show. My name is Omari Salisbury, joined by Bobby Stills.
Morning. Happy to be here.
Postman.
Happy to be here. It's always fun sitting in with you. You know, we did the coronavirus update show the other night, and we had it was great with Kevin Schofield on there. So I enjoy being here.
I didn't think that show was good. I knew it wasn't going to be like bad, but it's like Corona numbers is kind of like doom and gloom. But we actually it's hard not to have an upbeat spin though on anything when you're around.
Yeah, I know. A lot of times I'm in here smiling a lot. I just have a contagious smile, and I was like, "This is not good news." But I try to deliver it with empathy and a positive beat behind it.
All right, fantastic. So it's Food Fri-Yay. Even though you just saw Nikki Barron just now live, Nikki was out in Kent and she caught up with Nana's Southern Kitchen.
Hey everybody, welcome to Food Friday. I am here with Todd of Nana's Southern Kitchen in Kent, Washington. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Nikki. Excited to be here.
Tell me a little bit about you and the history of the restaurant.
Sure. So I am a native East Coaster. I'm from the Northeast, from Connecticut. My family is from Virginia. However, I moved to the Puget Sound about 10 years ago. Absolutely love it. Love the terrific Asian cuisine, the Mexican food, the fresh seafood. Just absolutely loved it. I work for a tech company here in town. And I tell you, I just missed having good old Southern food and what my family grew up on. And so I recruited a bunch of members from my family, my mom, my grandparents, my sister, my brother. And I told them if they moved out west, I would build a restaurant honoring my great-grandma. My great-grandma we called Nana. Her name was Myrtle. And Myrtle was from Virginia, and she migrated north in the late 60s, and she found herself at a diner right outside of Yale University in Connecticut. She worked there for 40 years, and I tell you, she received so much notoriety, whether it be newspaper articles, etc. And even in her community, she used her food to bring people together, teach life lessons, and she welcomed everybody. And so I will tell you, like, those recipes were passed down to my grandma, to my mom, and to all of us. And so we wanted to introduce our version of Southern food to the Pacific Northwest.
Speaking of food, I was able to stop in and try a little bit. So, got some green beans. Oh, some delicious. It looks like it might be baked mac. Looks good. Some greens. Here's the main event. That's some good looking chicken. Let's give it a go. That's good. Tell me a little bit about the recipes and the inspiration, especially with this fried chicken, which is so good.
For sure. So, like, one of the things I wanted to do is I want to keep it as simple as possible. My great grandma, she made all different types of food, but particularly like the four that I enjoyed the most was the fried catfish, fried chicken, fried pork chops, and fried shrimp that she started to make later in her life. So we have four mains. Again, fried chicken. You get 4 jumbo chicken wings, whole chicken wings, as you saw in the video. The fried pork chops, you get 2 6-ounce center cut pork chops. And then for the shrimp, you get 10 juicy, delicious jumbo shrimp, fried perfect. And then you get an 8-ounce fillet of catfish, and that's the mains. And then we have 6 sides, and you saw a few of them there. It's baked macaroni and cheese, potato salad, which I think is just super special. The candy yams, and they call them candy for a reason. They're super sweet. Cabbage, mustard greens, collard greens, and string beans. And those are our sides. And so typically a meal or a combo consists of 1 main and 2 or 3 sides. Some folks really splurge and get 2 mains and 2 sides. And then all of the desserts are made homemade by my wife. And so whether that be banana pudding cake or sweet potato pie or velvet cake, she makes those fresh every day in a rotating menu. And so that's typically, that's our menu. We don't really stray. We don't do more than that or less than that. Essentially, that's the same menu every day.
So if people want to support you, want to pick up some food, what's the best way for them to do that?
Sure. So first of all, we want to make sure you do it in a very safe way. We want you to stay safe during these times. And so you can, if you want to come pick it up, we'd love to see you. You can always order ahead at nanasouthernway.com and select in-store pickup. You can walk in and place your order. Either way, we will bring it to your car, so you don't have to wait outside. You wait in your car, we'll bring it right to your car when it's ready. And of course, we leverage all the delivery services. So Uber Eats, Grubhub, and DoorDash are also your options to be able to, order from us and support us.
Yeah, I felt really safe when I went. Everybody was masked up, gloved up. It was super clean. So it was a really great experience. And thank you so much for your time today. I hope everybody goes and tries your fried chicken. It was amazing.
All right. So first of all, the only reason I ever signed off on these food Fri-Yays is because the food used to make it back here. And people who've been following these segments with Nikki Barron, you always see that somewhere in there around the food, you know what I'm saying? Donuts, tamales, pizza. We had Taste of the Caribbean, oxtails. This food ain't never make it back here, Bobby.
Hey, Nikki knows what she's doing. But she kind of lives further south. So, she likes to highlight some, it's not all about Seattle. We have a greater Seattle region and we got north, south, even the east side, so Nikki's, it's not going to be warm. She wants to bring you the quality. So, she makes sure she gets it home hot, so she does her part, man. She's out there. I appreciate her.
Yeah. Thanks, Nikki. Appreciate you. Let's see her with the greens. Is Nikki still? Bring Nikki on screen.
Yeah. Where you at, Nikki? What's up, man? I like chicken. I like greens.
Okay. He's leaving out a very integral part of the story, which is that I did save him a plate. But then I took that plate as payment for covering a show for him as a producer. So there was a plate. It was part of the original plan, but then I just needed like a little bonus for, working late.
That's not a very good excuse, Nikki.
I think it's a great excuse. I mean,
okay. Bye, Nikki. We'll see you Monday.
Yeah, I hope Chris enjoyed that plate of food.
Bye. Yeah. But look, on the real, we want to support all these businesses, especially these restaurants we just talked about, and Laura Clise talked about. So that's Nana's Southern Kitchen out there in Kent. Man, I hardly ever leave the city. I mean, but that looks like it might be worth a venture out there.
Yeah, and I want to stress to some of our viewers, if you have some local favorites that you guys would like to suggest for us to cover, please send in your recommendations. We try to cover everybody that we can, people that we know. But please, if you have any suggestions, please, info@whereweconverge.com.
Yeah, this has been a big week for restaurants, and especially one right in the Central District of Seattle on 24th and Union. You were right there with me and Laura and Nikki for the actual ribbon cutting at Communion Restaurant on 24th.
Yeah, that was awesome to see. It was good to see the community come out and celebrate the opening of Communion. I think it's a very important restaurant, especially on that corner and in that neighborhood. And I'm excited to see what happens with that space. And the food's amazing. So I encourage everybody to check it out, order something online.
Yeah, the food is fire.
It's very interesting, to see that. When I interviewed the chef there, the way that she builds her plates and her recipes and her menus, it's very Seattle. We talked about that, about the way that she mixes her influences, and it's pretty exciting to see. I like the creativity and the innovation.
So far, I've had the fried chicken. I've had the roasted chicken. I've had the catfish sushi. I've had the kale salad.
The po mi? Did you get the po mi yet?
No, but I think that's what's next. So I think I'll check that out. You can visit Communion by going to communionseattle.com. And we're getting ready to get out of here. And before we do, we're going to leave you with our final segment. And big shout out again to Bobby Stills, Jake Grabrot, and Nikki Barron for putting all of these Communion segments together. They've been great. We're going to leave you with the final one here, in which Chef Christy Brown and Damon Bomar talk about the founders of. Want to tell you, because it's Friday, we appreciate you. We appreciate you every day, but we make an emphasis to tell you every Friday. Thank you so much for your viewership. Thank you so much for your support. We got a lot of big stories coming out next week. We're excited about it. It's a lot of news coming out next week. We'll be sharing with you guys about what's going on here in the city. Again, if you have it, man, please feel free to donate. Go to whereweconverge.com/donate. And man, any last words before we get out of here?
Let them know about the clapback. Tell them about the clapback. I like that show.
Man, yeah.
Come on, programming notes, baby.
Programming notes. You're right. And I meant to mention it before when we were talking about Mike Davis of the Emerald. So, we had this show, and it was post-election analysis show with Julia Jesse and Mike Davis of the South Seattle Emerald. Julia Jesse, that's our own right here at Converge Media. And, these guys, they get along. Yeah, they're so opinionated. It's really a great show, but it always been about politics and election. And so we remixed it a little bit and call it now clapback culture, because it's a lot of clapping back going over there. And they're still covering politics, but also, national issues, especially impacting the Black community. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. If you missed it last night, it's there right now on our Facebook page and our YouTube page. Definitely want you guys to check that out. You watched it last night, huh? There was some fire going on.
Yeah, I really enjoy their back and forth. I like those two a lot together. They really feed off each other and got good energy. So I like that show.
People say that about us too, Bobby.
We try. We do. We can't. This is natural for us. You know what I'm saying? This is how we act off camera, on camera. This is us.
Yep. Also, before we get out of here, I want to give a special thank you to our director, Alia D'Alessandro.
Yeah. She put makeup on us today.
Good. On you. Good stuff this week, Alia. Appreciate you. And remember, you can check us out. If you guys aren't following us on social media, we're always updating there. I know a lot of you guys are watching on Facebook. We're also on Twitter at WWConverge and on Instagram at WWConverge.
Make sure you guys go and check out our podcast page too. We're on all major podcast platforms. We've been converting everything into podcast form. So when you're on the run or you're at work, got your headphones in, you can listen to our interviews and a bunch of shows.
Converge Media across all podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple, Google, everything else. We're going to get out of here, man. Thank you again for supporting us this week. We look forward to seeing you Monday at 11 a.m. We're going to leave you with the final video from Communion, Founders Up, and we'll roll right in to Lift Every Voice and Sing. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless. Be safe.
My name is Christy Brown. I am the chef goddess and co-owner of Communion Restaurant and Bar.
Good. My name is Damon Bomar. I am the general manager, co-owner, and bar program manager as well.
Really, I love being a chef because I get to feed people. And it's so important. It feeds every part of me to give people that opportunity to feast on something that's really good and cared about. I think that's super duper important. I think what I do is I put a lot of love into the food that we prepare. And so it's really a pleasure to be able to provide this access to this experience to folks. And that's the difference between doing catering. I've been doing catering for over 20 years. And so now being able to open up a restaurant and provide walk-up service to folks is exciting.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna kind of mirror what she said, is the people. Honestly, I got into the game of Communion just to create a space where people could come and feel comfortable, to kind of add that spice and culture back into Seattle, especially in the Central District. I think, I could say a lot, but it really is just about creating a space where, we can have fun, eat some good food, have good spirits, and really just create a vibe.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise as the listening skies. Let it resound song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has facing the rising sun of a new day.